Hello, Algebra 1. Today we are going to be doing a review of slope and equations of lines. So again, you can print this PDF off of Canvas if you have access to a printer, and if you don't, you can either just watch the video, or what I would recommend is doing these problems on a separate sheet of paper. You are going to have a Canvas quiz for today, and so after you watch this video, you will want to go take that Canvas quiz. All right, so slope is something that we talked about a lot first semester. In number 1, we're going to find the slope given the graph below. So what we always do is, you'll notice your line is going downhill, so we'll go down and over between the points, and it doesn't matter which point you use, but we went down 2, so that's -2, and we went over 3. So your slope, which we call m, would be -2 over 3. Or -2/3. So your over always goes on the bottom, all right, -2 over 3, and that's your slope. Now we also found the slope given 2 points, and there are 2 ways that you can do this. The first way is just to make a table with your points, and we did our jumps, okay? So for example, 5 to 2, that is going down 3. -8 to 4, that's going up. It's actually going up 12. And then your slope, we do change in y over change in x. So it was -3 over 12, which you can then reduce or math fract to -1/4. Okay, so that's one option. That's what we taught you originally. However, there's also the slope formula, which is more frequently used. So that formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And your x's come first, so this is x1 and x2, and then your y's are second, y1, y2. So this is what a lot of you use to find your slope. We just plug our numbers into this formula. So let's try it again and make sure we get the correct answer. So m equals y2 minus y1 will be 2 minus 5 over x2 minus x1 will be 4 minus -8. And then you can use your calculator to evaluate if you'd like. This is going to become a plus plus. That's why we have a 12 on the bottom. 2 minus 5 is -3. You'll notice you'll get the exact same thing as we had before. See this -3 over 12, but you will want to reduce this to -1/4. Okay, so again, that is your slope. All right, so these next 2 problems we're going to talk about PSF, which stood for point slope form. So point slope form, P really stands for point, but the way you can think of it is P for parentheses. Point slope form always has parentheses. So the way this worked was it was y, and then we did the opposite of our y coordinate. So like my y coordinate is 5, so I'm going to put a -5. Equals, and then we put our slope, which is 1/2, parentheses, x, and then the opposite of our x coordinate. So see how it's a -3? It's just a +3. And this is point slope form. There's nothing else to do with that. We don't distribute it. Distributing happens when we do slope intercept form, which we are not to quite yet. All right, so let's try number 4 now. We're still doing point slope form, still keeping parentheses, but what you'll notice is you have 2 points this time. So what we will need to find is the slope first. And I'm going to use my slope formula. I'll write it out again. Although if you'd like to use your jumps, you can. Okay, so y2 minus y1 is going to be -6 minus -8 over x2 minus x1 is 2 minus 4. Okay, this becomes a plus plus. -6 plus 8 is 2. 2 minus 4 is -2. And then always divide. 2 divided by -2 is -1. And that is my slope. So now, when you do point slope form, you're just going to pick one point. It doesn't matter which one, okay, whichever one you feel like. So I like the first one, so I'm going to use that. Start with your y, and then the opposite of your y coordinate. So this is a -8, it's going to become a +8. equals your slope, that's what we just found, parentheses, x, and then the opposite of your x-coordinate. So my x-coordinate was 4, so it becomes a -4. If you liked the other point, you could use the other point. I'll just write the other problem as well, but again, you only need one, y, and then the opposite of your y-coordinate, so that would be +6, equals your slope, parentheses, x, and then the opposite of our x-coordinate. So 2 becomes a -2. Okay, either of these would be great. All right, we have 2 more, and these 2 are about SIF, or slope-intercept form. So again, the S stands for slope, but really you want to think about the S as standing for solve, because now we're actually going to solve PSF. We do always want to start in point slope form though. So notice I have my slope and my point. I'll begin with PSF, y, opposite of my y-coordinate, so y minus 7, equals, my slope is -4, parentheses, x, and then opposite of my x-coordinate. So that's a +2. Okay, this is point slope. Now I want to get slope intercept. So what I'll do is I'll solve this for y. I'll go ahead and distribute -4x, -4 times 2 is -8. And then my final step is to get the y by itself, so I will add 7 on both sides. And -8 plus 7 is, oops, and there should be a negative there, -1. All right, so my slope-intercept form is y equals -4x minus 1. Okay, and then if you had a grid, if you wanted to, you could graph it. You would start at -1 and you'd go down 4/1. Okay, so look, I don't know, something like this. Okay. All right, last one. We're going to do slope-intercept form again, but notice this time you're not given slope, so we will have to find it first. And I'll write your formula for you again. This is something you should commit to memory. So y2 minus y1 is going to be 6 minus -4. Notice I have both negatives there. And x2 minus x1, 8 minus 6. This becomes a plus plus. 6 plus 4 is 10. Over 8 minus 6 is 2. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that's my slope. All right, so now I want slope-intercept form, but you must start with point slope. So you're going to pick whichever point you want. I like the first one better. So I'm going to go with that, and then this is my slope, and I will begin with PSF. Y, and then the opposite of your y-coordinate, +4, equals my slope, x, then the opposite of my x-coordinate, so that'll be a -6. Okay, again, this is point slope form. I want slope-intercept form, S for solve. So now I'll go ahead and I will distribute. 5 times 6 is 30, and it's negative. And then I will subtract my 4 over. And -30 minus 4 is -34. Okay, and there you go. That's your slope-intercept form. All right, so that was your review of slope and equations of lines, and now go ahead and do your Canvas quiz, and that is your submission for today. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good one. Bye.